Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to my channel. I have the little one in here, so this video might be a little bit crazy. But we got a little guy here. Just picked him up today. Someone left a box of dogs, of puppies in a box. So someone where we live in the canyon, she rescued dogs and she picked them up and got them all vaccinated and dewormed. And my husband texted me and he was like, do you want a puppy? And I mean, look at that face. How do you say no? Literally the cutest face ever. But yeah, I thought on this video we could talk about pregnancy symptoms before you're big fat positive. I'm not pregnant, so if any of my family and friends are watching this, I'm not pregnant. I just remember when we were trying. So when we were trying with Evelyn and Amelia, I feel like all I did was watch YouTube and see like what other people's pregnancy symptoms were. So I thought, you know, I feel like there wasn't a lot pre-miss period. And so I thought it would be perfect to make one because I have 3 daughters. So I have 3 different experiences with all 3 of them. So this is pre-positive test, pre-period symptoms. So I'll start with my oldest one. So with my 8-year-old Kaylin, she was a surprise baby. I had her when I was 17. So obviously we weren't purposely trying to get pregnant. So with her, it's a little bit different, but I still remember like having certain symptoms that I was like, that's a little weird. And that's kind of what led me to take a pregnancy test. So basically before I had a missed period, PMS symptoms for me, that what was normal was really sore boobs, cramps, you know, like a breakout here and there. And with her, I was getting those symptoms, but what threw me off was that when I started cramping, usually when I cramp, I get my period that same day or the following days. Well, back then. And I remember cramping and my period wasn't coming. Like days passed and I still, like it still wasn't coming. And I was like, that's weird. Like usually when I cramp, my period was right there. And I had sore boobs, but that I didn't think much of it because either way I would get that as a PMSing. But another thing that was weird was my appetite and cravings went up. We would go, there was a McDonald's across our high school, so we would go to McDonald's and I was asking now my husband, David at the time, boyfriend, to get me seconds. And he was like, you sure? You already had, you know, like a McChicken and French fries, like you want more? And I was like, yeah, I'm just so hungry. So my hunger was like a lot more than it usually would be. And I would crave the same thing, a mango smoothie, McChicken, I believe, and then French fries. Like I was eating that. I ate that for probably like a good couple weeks for lunch, which I know not the best, but I was in high school, so McDonald's wasn't that big of a deal. Versus now, if you eat a French fry, you gain like 15 pounds. But anyways, so with her, it was the cramping, but no period, which that cramping, now I know that was implantation cramping. And then the craving McDonald's and hunger went up. And obviously I was a little bit more emotional, but nothing too crazy for my regular PMSing. So for her, it was the cramping, but no period, appetite increased, and the cravings of wanting McDonald's. So that was with her. And then yeah, later I found out that I was indeed pregnant, and I probably took like 6 pregnancy tests, ended up at Planned Parenthood to like really make sure that I was. And yeah, and the rest is history. But 6 years later, we were both we had just got, you know, we had gotten back together. He was sober now. So we figured it was a good time to try to have a baby. So we started, I would say, trying, but not like going as far as like tracking ovulation and stuff. It was more like, if it happens, great. If it doesn't, then it's just not meant to be yet. So we weren't like tracking anything, or I wasn't tracking anything. Not like I was with Amelia. But it did take us 7 cycles, which then you say, okay, but you weren't tracking. How do you know? Well, because from when we decided that we were just going to see what happened to when I actually got a fat positive with Evelyn, it was 7 cycles, so 7 months. And so with that one, it was harder. And that's when I became like obsessed with watching YouTube videos about pre-pregnancy, pre-period symptoms. I mean, if you're trying, you like kind of become obsessed with just tracking everything, and any little symptoms, you just think that it might be it. And at first, I was kind of like mellow about it, and then as the months like kept going and passed, I feel like I became a little more like, oh my gosh, maybe this, maybe that. But finally, the month that we did conceive her, the symptom that symptoms for me pre-period and pre-fat positive were I like broke out on my skin, but not with like acne. It was like a rash. So my face turned really, really red, and I had like the tiniest of bumps all over my face, and it was almost like an allergic reaction to something. It was weird. And it was just like this rash of like hormonal they were like these tiny little bumps. So I thought that was super weird. I had never ever gotten that before. So that threw me off a little bit. And then along with my boobs were slightly sore on the sides, which after taking birth control and stuff, my PMS symptoms changed. So sore boobs were not a thing for me. So when I did start getting slight sore boobs, I was like, something's up. Maybe this is the month. So that combined with that, and I started getting a bit nauseous too. I remember I woke up and I tested, I believe the day I was supposed to get my period, but I tested like, was it early in the morning? No, it was late at night. That night I was supposed to, like that day I was supposed to get my period. And I tested, I used just like the dollar. I usually do the dollar test, and then if that's positive, then I'll go get the clear blue that are like the digital ones. But I took it, and at first, like I didn't see anything. I was like, oh no, we didn't conceive this cycle. And then I washed my hands, and then I looked back at it again, and that's when the second line appeared, and it was for sure my big fat positive. So for my second pregnancy, it was slight sore boobs and that weird rash that I had on my face. That was just not normal for me to get. And the nausea. I had slight nausea, which was amazing because I was barely 4 weeks and I already had started. And I would say that the nausea with her was the worst because it was like, the nausea didn't stop till probably 13 weeks. And with my first, I did get nausea, but it was only for like a week or 2. But I did throw up with her though. With my second and third, I didn't. So slight nausea. And then for my littlest, Amelia, who is currently 7 months now, we tried 2 cycles. So my husband came home from fire season, and we decided that we wanted to try, and because we figured it would take at least 6 months for us to conceive, just based on how long it took us with Evelyn. But that was not the case. We conceived on the second try. So the first month we actually tried, he was convinced that I was pregnant because I started craving spicy spicy Chick-fil-A sandwiches from Chick-fil-A. And I don't like spicy, so that was super weird. But it turns out that I wasn't pregnant. It was just like a weird craving that I got. I still don't know why. Super weird. But then the second cycle, we were dealing with the bonfire fire that happened. It almost burned down my husband's family home, and which is where we live. And to be honest, I couldn't even like focus on what symptoms or anything, just because we had to evacuate at midnight with no warning. I literally just grabbed stuff, threw it in a bag myself. I didn't even pack myself pants, literally just t-shirts, because I was so like startled. So I was very emotional, but I thought being emotional was because of the fire, of almost losing, all, like, it was a wild ride. Like, I've thought of so many scenarios, like what if the cop didn't warn us in time? What if we didn't wake up? Like, so many different things that I was already super emotional. So I thought it was just normal because of what we were going through with the fire. So I didn't think much of it, of me getting teary-eyed and emotional. You say hi. Say hi. But then so I wasn't, to be honest, like keeping track, but then what threw me off was that we had to go stay at a hotel, and at that hotel they gave us free breakfast. So you could go kind of like a little bar, breakfast bar, and they had like bagels and yogurt, fruit, waters, coffee, and they had bagels and they had cream cheese. I didn't like cream cheese, and suddenly I wanted bagels and cream cheese. For every single morning I would eat a bagel with cream cheese. And that was extremely weird because I didn't like cream cheese. So that, I started thinking, like, that's a little weird. Not normal for me to want cream cheese. Yes, so bagels and cream cheese. I was craving them. And then one evening, my husband ordered pizza to the hotel. And I remember eating it, and it was... I forgot what pizza it was, but it was one of our favorites, and I was eating it and I kind of got nauseous from it. Like, I stopped eating it, and pizza's like my favorite food. So for me to get nauseous from pizza was super weird. So I was like, okay, like maybe I should test, because this is getting weird, like the cream cheese, and now I'm getting nauseous by pizza. And then the following day, my daughter wanted this, spaghetti my dad makes. We call it Papa's white spaghetti. So I made it. I went and got stuff, because we had like a little kitchenette in the hotel that we were staying at, the room. And I made it, and I started eating it, and I got nauseous, like to the point where I wanted to throw up. I was like, okay, this is super weird. So his sister knew that we were trying. So she's like, well, could you be like, and I was like, I don't know, like, should I test? And she's like, yeah, do it. And I ended up testing by myself because I wanted to surprise him. But now that I look back at it, I wish I would have done it with him. But, another thing too. We had, relations the night before I tested, and I started spotting right after. So I was like, oh, never mind. Like, let's disregard everything. I'm spotting. That means my period is coming. But I was also breastfeeding, so my periods were kind of like, they were consistent for like, at that point, 3 months. But with breastfeeding, I feel like your cycles are just kind of crazy until you stop. Getting sidetracked a little bit. Oh yeah, so I was spotting, so I told them, oh no, this is not our, not our month. Like we didn't conceive because I'm spotting. That means my period's probably gonna be here tonight or tomorrow morning. So he's like, oh, okay, he was all sad, but he's like, we'll just try next month, it's fine. And the next morning came, he went to work, and my period wasn't there. I didn't get my period, and I was like, what? That is so weird. Like, why would I not get it? So I waited all day for it to come, nothing. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to go run through the Dollar Tree, get a test, and test. So I tested, and right away, as the, pee starts going, that second line popped up, and I was like, no way. I feel like that with Amelia, I just didn't feel pregnant at all. Oh, and besides like the nausea and the weird cream cheese craving and being emotional, I was having very vivid dreams and scary ones, like very, very vivid and scary dreams. But I thought maybe it was related to the fire because there was just so much going on. It was Christmas time. We didn't know if we were going to be able to be in the house, and spending Christmas in a hotel was, you know, it's just not as magical. It doesn't feel like home. So there was just a lot of stuff going on. But that was weird too. And I kept telling my sister-in-law, I was like, keep having really vivid dreams. And the last time that happened, I was pregnant, because that actually happened with my other two. Now that I remember it, I had vivid dreams with both of them as well. So I tested and I got my big fat positive, and yeah, and the rest is history. You know, 9 months later we had her, and now she's 7 months old. It literally goes by so fast. So yeah, so if you're trying and you run into this video, nausea, vivid dreams, cravings, cramping, sore boobs, weird rash, if you get like a weird rash, or even like a breakout, because I broke out a little bit with my first, then you might just be pregnant in it, and congrats. It might be your cycle, and I hope you get that baby that you're, you know, hoping for. And I know some women really struggle, and I mean, my heart goes out to you guys. I don't know, you know, how, I can't even imagine, like, and I thought 7 months was hard. I know people that like tried for like 5 years. So my heart goes out to you guys, and you know, I'll be praying and hoping for those babies, and I hope you get your big fat positive soon. But those were my symptoms. I'll write them down below too as well, in like the little description box as well. And I hope you enjoyed this video, and if you did, click that subscribe button and give it a big thumbs up, and I'll see you guys next time.